Good evening, everybody who gives a shit about the world and is into prepping. This is a video that I made about 3 weeks ago about what is in my bug out bag and what is also in my family's bug out bags. So hopefully it'll be a good guide for you to set up your own. Please enjoy it. So this is the basic bug out bag. As you can see, it's got two main compartments and five separate external bags for various things. This is not a bag. What it is a charger for your electronica, that is solar panels. I put it out here on the outside of the bag so that as I'm walking, the sun can be hitting this and charging up while I'm doing that. Here is this bag. This is called an executive bag, and what I use it for is for small things that are important that would get lost on the inside. This is where the identification and possibly map would go. I've got bags of my daily pills here, clearly labeled as AM PM. Anything that needs to be at hand and needs to be out of the way would go in here. That's smallish. There are areas where you can hang stuff off of. There's pen holders, and this you saw was a little folding credit card knife. This is a set of ranger beads that I made for myself. Now these are pace counters and are used that if you know the length of your stride, you can count using this to make sure that you go a certain distance. Each of these beads is 10 steps, and then you slide a bead, and then another 10 steps and you slide a bead. When you run out of all 9 of these beads, you slide one of these down and reset all of these. Now, one thing a lot of people don't think of is you're going to have to use these in winter conditions too. So you're going to have gloves on. So you want to make the beads big enough that you can grab them even with thick winter gloves in to move them. So keep that in mind when you make it. This is what I call the campsite bag, with various things that you're going to need when you get to a camping area. Now this is the bag that it all came in. It takes up 2 standard MOLLE sections on the outside of your bag, and it's pretty much what you're going to need when you get to camp. This is a rain fly. It is camouflaged. I don't care if it's camouflaged or not. And this is a hammock. The idea is that you put the hammock up, you connect it to the tree with these, and then you string the rain fly over top of it to keep the rain off of you. And it becomes something along the lines of an instant tent. This is a pair of work gloves, same type you can get at Walmart or Home Depot or anybody. These straps are just large straps that wrap around a tree and have a piece that comes out and attaches to the hammock to make sure that it stays there. Okay, work gloves. This is fire starter. This is just a ferro rod and magnesium block with a striker that is used to put in to make fires. This is one of those critical items that you have to have nearby. This is a knife sharpener. I don't care how good your knife is, it's going to get dull as you use it. You have to have something to sharpen it back up. It also, as part of this particular product, has another another fire starter striker, and it has an awl here that will allow you to poke holes and sand them open. This is pretty rough. Okay, continuing on. These are super compressed cloth washcloths. I figure they're useful for when you need to wash pots and pans, or just clean up, or just have a rag to wipe your sweat off with. There are 2 of these in each bug out bag, and there's, looks like, 8 of these little pucks in each. These are 50-yard hanks of brown 550 paracord. The brown is what I had on hand. It's not brown because I want to disguise it or anything, because honestly, if you're walking along at the night, a brown cord is not what you want, because you're probably going to trip over it as you try to get back into your hammock. But since I also don't know how long a piece I need, I just left it in the 50-yard lengths. Now, these two kind of go together. This is simply a shower in a bag. It is a product that I was given. It is for cleaning up as you need it, all over your body. This one is a set of wipes for your butt, because believe it or not, you're always going to have to go to the bathroom, and you're always going to have a messy butt, and you're going to want something to clean that off. I opened it and got the air that was inside the package out, and then vacuum sealed the rest of it to get as much air as I could out of this package. Okay, packing up is pretty easy. The fly goes in, the hammock goes in, and then the rest of this goes in where it can fit. We want the butt wipes being near the top. We want the shower stuff right about there. And with those shower things, you don't have to carry soap, you don't have to carry wash rags, you don't have to carry a towel. It's kind of like a towelette for your whole body. Now, the cord we'll have somewhere near the top, simply because we never know when we're going to need it. And then the sharpener and the fire starter being most important, we can probably put right on the top and put it in last. See, there's nothing left. And then it all zips up nicely and goes on the pack. One big pouch, so that if you get to camp and you put your pack down and you really don't want to carry the pack anyplace else, you can just take this bag off and have everything right there to set up camp. Pouches. These 2 pouches come from the left side of the bag where the knife is at. This one was the one on top, and it is simply filled with these snack bars. They're high protein, they're breakfast bars. I like them, and they're fairly inexpensive at Aldi or most other discount places. This bag had all of this in it. Now, what all this is these are fasteners and connectors for securing things to the bag, or to like the fly and such like that. There are carabiners, there are Velcro straps, these are bungee clips, these are strap keepers, but they can connect some of these straps on the pouches to the MOLLE pieces here. This is just a trigger snap. This is another type of bungee cord holder. That's essentially all that's in here, is just a whole bunch of stuff to attach things either to the bag or to other MOLLE ready devices. Now, this is a whole lot for one person, but this is what I would be using for all of our family. I'm the only one that's carrying all of this, so my wife and my daughter don't have to worry about it, but if they need it, I've got it. This is just a little thing that I made that is the lids on soda bottles that are glued together here, and it makes a nice little waterproof jar. You can fill it with salve, you can put pills in it, or whatever. And it's small, it's lightweight, and it closes very, very well. I do want to mention that one thing that you need to think about is redundancy and where to source some of these things. These little connectors that are all over my bag and that are mostly in here, you can buy at the Army Navy surplus store. You can also get them online. There's a lot of manufacturers that make them. And they're pretty lightweight. They're not a huge problem to find. You may find that you have a whole bunch extra if you order something in the neighborhood of 80 of them. You probably only need about a dozen of each. There is this type of strap that is a cloth patch that has two bungee loops on it. There is this type that, when you look at it, is simply a clip that goes on there and has a bungee part that comes down and wraps around things to hold it in place. Something that I want to mention here. This is the sleeping bag in a waterproof stuff sack. Okay, I'm not going to pull it out because it's a bitch to get back in there. But as you can see, it's got one of those wind down closures that make it absolutely watertight. I also have the machete there so that it's easy to get to. And this is another tool that you're probably going to want in camp. Now, we had somebody leave this with us, and this is a kukri, and it can probably do the same job. So this is probably going to go in my wife's bug out bag, but you want to have a big chopper, and you want to have a small knife for other camp chores. So this is going to act as my axe. It will act as a brush clearer. It will act as a firewood splitter and everything else. As I said before, this is a motorcycle helmet net with some bungee cords that I rigged up to attach to various points on here, since this particular manufacturer doesn't have a part where a sleeping bag should go. I have no earthly idea what these things are for. I don't know why they're there. I think they're supposed to be ways to hang other items off of it, but what this would do is it would just swing and hit you in the back of the legs and eventually irritate the hell out of you. I had put this strap away and tied it up with the shoulder straps because this is the waist belt for your pack. It is very important because what you want to do is have the weight resting on your hips rather than just on your shoulders. When it's only on your shoulders, you start hunching forward, and that causes back pain and back problems. So you always want the majority of the weight on your hips and just have the shoulder straps to hold it to flush to your back. Looking at the strap, the bags on the strap, I am not taking this bag off because it is a pain in the ass to put back on, but that means it's secure. Like I said, this is for my radio. All the family radios are tuned to the same channel with the same encryption on it. And this is just a handy little pouch so that if you're walking and you get separated, you can still talk to each other. It also has the clip on the back so it can be attached to the waist belt, and the headset and charging cables are in another set of bags. This one is a separate pouch that has other things that you might want to have on hand without taking your pack off. This, and I'm having a little trouble getting it out, is an emergency poncho. It also acts as a emergency blanket. So it's thin, it's Mylar, but it will keep you dry. There's nothing else in there. And then we have the flashlight. Now the flashlight's important because if you're out at night, you need to have a flashlight. And then the lanyard so that you can attach it around your neck and have your hands free as you're walking. Talk a second about how to attach these MOLLE pouches to the actual bag. As you can see on some of these pouches, there is a ladder of straps there. This is intentional. What you're supposed to do is weave it in and out of these holes. Strap goes down, comes out, goes under one of these, and then goes back in here and then snaps. That makes a very secure lock so that even if the snap comes undone, you'll still be able to, you won't lose this bag. Also of note is these things. A lot of people don't really consider these straps that are along the side to do anything important. But here's what it does. This is a tension strap. It compresses all the extra space that is in the bag and pulls it all closer to you, making it a little easier to carry, taking up the space that would normally be in there, getting the air out, and making it less likely to snag on things as you're walking. So these are important. What you're supposed to do is when you get into the main bags here, is you're supposed to detach these and then pull them all the way out like this. And that way you load up everything in here that you need to. You clip these together. And then grab the tab and pull out all the extra space. This is the knife, hard plastic sheath, purpose bought, general utility. I'm not that worried about it being orange like this. I'm not worried that that's going to give it away, because if I'm in a position where I'm having to use this, I'm going to take it off of here and either stash it in the bag, on here, or in this pouch here, or in my pocket. So the orange is there so that if I set it down, I can find it again. There are certain of these items that you don't want to lose in the forest floor. This is one of them. This bag has been advertised as a field bag, a purse, a butt bag. Somebody sent it to me, sent one of these to me as a shooter's bag, a range bag. But it's actually just a multi-purpose bag. Pretty much what I would do with this is put things into it so that I can take it off of the main bag, carry it around if I'm going out someplace like hunting wood or sourcing water or things like that. Stuff that's critically important to have right at hand, that you would need for if you get confused or lost. Of course, the radio would be part of that, because if I step away from them, my family, I want them to know where I'm going to be at. Now, what I've got here is 2 reusable hand warmers. Bought these at a store that's nearby, grocery store. You push the little silver thing and it heats up, and then you boil it and it turns back to cold like this. I have a standard lineman pocket knife here that goes in there, and my compass. Okay, so you would also probably put your maps along with it, or at least a copy of the maps. Now that is what's in the first one. Back here, I have the strap for this bag. It is in this compartment here that would go through this piece and turn it into a waist pack. Or it could hook onto here and turn it into a shoulder bag. This is some personal items that I would like Lucky Charm to have with me. Over here, in this side bag, I have the electronica. Now, all of these are the cables and charging cords for all the electronica I have. You're going to see in a little while that I do have a headlamp, and that headlamp would need these to go with it. This is another little, just a little utility knife. You can find it online. And this is the headphones for the radio. And here we have all the contents of the big area in there. We have 2 life straws, and I messed up. These life straws are not compatible with the hydration bladders that I got, but they do have a bottle threaded for 2 liters and the 20-ounce bottles and stuff like that. So you can fill up the bottle and use this to drink through from that bottle, and it'll filter it. This is a little necessities kit with some first aid supplies, a sewing kit, some antacids, and a few things like that. We have the mirror. Now, I should drill a hole in it so that we've got the signaling, but you always need a mirror. Here are the chemical lights to put up in various places. Hang one from the back of the pack if we're moving at night so that we can see each other. These are the plastic shoelaces that came with all of these for tying them to things around your neck, stuff like that. This little Altoids tin is a small emergency stove. This, damn it, okay. What we have is screws down in the bottom. This is the grate that the wood sits on to burn. The ashes fall through. We have a lighter to put it together. And then these are the posts that screw into the corners here that you can set your pot on or whatever you're trying to cook. It's tiny, it's compact, it's really good. We also have a GI can opener here. And these are tiny little fire starters. It's a ball of lint with hand sanitizer all over it that I heat sealed on the ends, so that all you have to do is take your knife and slice it open, pull out the insides, and light it, and it will burn for a few seconds without going out. These, as it is the instructions for the hand warmers. Okay, now it's time to actually get into the bag and see what's inside. This is a permanent match. It is supposed to be used with white gas or lighter fluid. This unscrews at the top, just like so. It has a little piece of metal there. You run it along the ferrocrete, ferrocite striker, and this should be soaked in white gas or in alcohol. And when you strike it, you get the spark, but it starts burning there, which is why this is a match. It's hard to put out, so you just stick it back in there, and that snuffs it. The only problem that I have with these is that this is plastic down here, and the gas and the alcohol does evaporate after a little while. So you do have to have something to refill it with regularly. Okay, the theme of the front pocket here is things to wear. We have filters. We have a cycling mask that has room for your ears. We have spares of the one-way port here on these. We have 1, 2, 3 different gaiters. Now these go over your mouth and nose and cover up your neck in case you want to stay either hidden or in case there's something in the atmosphere that is bothering you. They are also used, these especially, for sliding over something that is very visible that you want to make subdued again. We have a boonie hat, which is extremely important. Most people don't think hats are going to be needed, but they prevent ticks. They also absorb sweat. They keep the warmth in on your head when you're in the cold, and can be an emergency bucket except for that little port there. So instead, for the emergency buckets, we have these. These are dry sacks of varying sizes. There are 5 of them here. You know, it doesn't look like it, but there are. And basically you just put whatever it is in here. You roll this down and then snap this closed on the other side to seal it. And it makes a very effective wet-dry seal. Whatever's in there is not going to get wet. Now there are 4 different sizes here because the last one is right there for the backpack, for the sleeping bag. So you can have different things to go in here. Like if I wanted to, if I was going into, say, a river that I was crossing, I could put all of this stuff, which I want to keep clean and dry, into this one, seal it up, and put it back into my pack. Now, one thing that is supposed to be in here that's not is spare changes of clothing. You're going to need at least 2 pairs of underwear, and if you wear bras like I do, you're going to need 2 of those as well. You're going to need at least 1 additional pair of pants and 1 additional shirt. You're probably also going to want a long sleeve shirt or maybe a sweater to go on top of, to go in there. But that's about all you're really going to want. And now the main compartment. This is the kitchen and the food. There's a lot in this one because this is the main pouch, main storage pouch, and all of this fits in there. Now this is simply a bottle of Yellow Heat alcohol gas. It's used for the stove. It's also used for the permanent match. And this one is about full up to about here. It's a 1 liter bottle. It has a standard neck on it to hook up with some of the gas stoves, like the Whisper Lights. This is the cooking tray. This is a medicine bottle full of matches. Now, everybody thinks that the medicine bottles are no good because they leak and everything, but if you get the right one, they're absolutely airtight. So, and you can fit a lot of matches in there. What we have over here is more of the fire starters. The multi-tool that also has the fork and the spoon on it. I don't know if you can see that. Salt and pepper. And then what you're going to make your foods in. Kind of self-explanatory. This is the best stuff that I've found for the price. I got it at Ollie's, and it's extremely good. They have various different flavors. This is my headlamp. This is one of the more important flashlights in the collection. It is charged through a USB port like this, and off of the solar charger, so we don't have to carry extra batteries, which is extra weight. This is simply a piezoelectric striker. That's it. There's no fuel with it. What you do is you put this down into something that has fumes in there. You hit the button, it sparks and lights up. This is one of two bladders, hydration bladders. Both of these are half gallons, and when both of them are filled, you've got a gallon of water with you. The reason that I have two is because redundancy. This is for my wife's stove. She has her own large one-burner gas stove with supports and everything. It's very heavy and it's very bulky, so she can't carry all of the fuel with it. Both my daughter and I have one backup canister that we carry with us, so that when the first one runs out, we've got this. This is a very simple stove. It has our windscreen. It has the can in here, the can in there, and then this is all steel wool that we would pour the gas into here, fill it up, light it, and then the smoke would come up, or the flame would come up around the this can. This can is where the plates would rest, or the cook pot would rest. And that's how you would use this. You have this on there to let air in, but to keep the wind from blowing it out. Now, the main thing. 4 ration packs. I have these in another video, and I will go and I will repost that so everybody can see it. But the idea here is that one of these packages per day has everything that you're going to eat. As you can see, there's a meat type thing. Spam is not terrible. There are ramen noodles. There is tissue for you. There are a couple of energy bars. There's Gorp. We have tuna. We have Lipton soup. There is Water Helper. There is a snack of some kind, a sugary snack. And lots and lots of condiments. So the idea is that you get one of these, you open it up, you eat from it for the day. These other 3 stay sealed. You open the next one the next morning, you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 calories total if you eat everything in here. Now, the condiments, oh, there's also cheese crackers that you can see, salt, pepper, sugar. I think there's a tea package in here somewhere. There are also spare filters for the mask, so that if you are in an environment that is very smoky, let's say, or has a lot of gas in the air, you can replace them regularly. This one needs to be resealed, and I have a vacuum sealer at the house. So I took all the packaging out that I could for each and every one of these things, put them in packaging, got all the air out that I could, and then vacuum sealed them so that, 1, it stays fresh, but 2, air is your enemy in packages like this, because air has weight. Everybody thinks that it doesn't, everybody assumes that it doesn't, but if you take an empty volleyball and weigh it, and you put a fully inflated volleyball and weigh it, that air is going to add mass to it. And weight is your enemy if you're walking with nothing but that on your back, trying to get away from civilization. So we want to be conscious of that, and we want to try to get ready for as many scenarios as we possibly can. which is why the idea behind this bug out bag is we're cut off from everything. We have to leave our house, we have to leave the town, we have to leave the city, and we're out in the woods somewhere. All of this combined should at least keep us alive for 3 days. Probably more. If we're conservative, probably more like a week. Because, I mean, we got 4 days worth of rations there. We've got all of that, everything. We can make a good camp. And you can go about 50 miles in a week, which is a significant clip. That's 10 miles a day, which is really slow. And when this comes out, without the water, because the water adds 12 pounds per gallon, this bug out bag, with everything in it, weighs in at close to 45 pounds. Okay? Now, one of the things you're not going to see in here are weapons. Well, first off, we've got the machete. And second off, if we have to use weapons, we're kind of in trouble. There are things in here for traps and hunting and string lines and fishing, but there's not any guns. There's not any ammunition for it. But we've got pretty much everything else. This is modeled on a backpacker's backpacking kit. Things that I want to talk about also is redundancy. You'll notice if you go back through this series of videos and look at everything that I talked about, I have multiple items that do the same thing. I've got the headlamp, I've got the flashlight, there's a flashlight on this solar battery, there's gasoline here, there's gas there, there is this stove, and there's another stove, and that's all by design. The military has a philosophy that one is none and two is one and one is none. You have two items that can do the same thing with you, because one is going to break, and if the only one you have of something breaks, then you don't have it anymore. So you always have something that's redundant. Now, I not only have redundancy inside of this pack and all of the peripherals, but I also have redundancy in what I'm carrying versus what my wife is carrying versus what my daughter is carrying. You didn't see any medical supplies in here except for that one little white first aid box. That is because the main medical supply bag is on my daughter's backpack. In there are suture kits, there are all kinds of bandages, there's a sling, there's a plaster even, not one from England, which is essentially just a Band-Aid. I mean for immobilizing broken bones. A plaster cast in there. There are ace bandages, there are also braces for the knees and elbows and such. And here's something that we also need to talk about is provisions for your pets. They're just as important. If you're having to run, you're going to need to take them with you. When I come up with a pet kit to go in the bug out bag, I will share it with you and you can see it. I will be posting the contents and the reasoning behind all of it for these ration packs. And until then, stay safe.